There comes a time in your life when you must stop asking who's walking with you and start asking why they're walking with you, because not everyone around you is meant to go where you're going. Some people are sent to teach you lessons, others are sent to drain your strength, and only a few are sent to build you up. Life isn't just about addition, it's about subtraction too. The people you allow in your space can either push you toward your destiny or pull you away from it. You cannot fly when you're surrounded by anchors. So, if you want to rise, you've got to learn to release THEDAIM. The first kind of person you must remove from your life is the dream killer. These are the people who never see light in your vision, no matter how clearly you describe it. You talk to them about your goals, your ambitions, your next move, and before you can even finish your sentence, they're already listing the reasons why it won't work. They disguise their discouragement as advice, their doubt as concern, and their fear as wisdom. But the truth is, they don't doubt you because you're incapable. They doubt you because your courage exposes their own cowardice. Your determination reminds them of what they gave up on. And so instead of cheering you on, they try to convince you to stop running because they got tired of chasing their own dreams a long time ago. The danger of keeping dream killers around is that they plant silent seeds of doubt in your mind. And over time, those seeds grow into hesitation, insecurity, and fear. You start to question yourself, not because you lack potential, but because you've allowed someone else's limitations to become your reality. They tell you it's impossible, and soon you start to believe maybe it is. They say, be realistic, and suddenly your dream feels too big, too far, too risky. But what they call realistic is often just the cage they've accepted for themselves. You cannot live a limitless life while listening to people who have settled for walls. Every time you share your passion with a dream killer, it's like handing your vision to someone who doesn't value it. They'll look at your dream like a fragile toy, and before you know it, they'll drop it, step on it, and walk away like it never mattered. That's why you must learn to protect your vision like a treasure. Not everyone deserves to hear your plans. Some things are better kept between you and your purpose until they grow strong enough to stand on their own. Because some people can't handle your dream. They'll mock it, minimize it, and twist it into something laughable just to make themselves feel taller. Think about it. How many times have you hesitated to share your progress because you knew someone would downplay it? How many times did you stop yourself from taking a leap because you feared what they would say? The truth is, you were never waiting for the right moment. You were waiting for their approval. And that's the trap. The more you seek validation from dream killers, the more you weaken your own voice. They will never give you permission to succeed because your success makes them confront their own stagnation. So stop asking for confirmation from people who have no vision for your future. You don't need their blessing to become who you're meant to be. Dream killers can exist in many forms. Sometimes they're disguised as friends, coworkers, or even family. They might not even realize how much harm they're doing because they've been conditioned to live small. They've convinced themselves that dreaming big is naive, that trying again is foolish, that failure is final. And if you listen long enough, their fear becomes contagious. That's how people lose their fire, slowly, quietly, through constant exposure to those who tell them to dim their light. You have to learn to protect your fire because the world is already full of rain. When you tell a dream killer about your goals, they'll start bringing up statistics, failure rates, or all the people who didn't make it. But you know what they never talk about? The ones who did. They'll say only 1 in a million succeeds, as if that's a reason to quit. But they forget that someone becomes that one. Someone dares to believe. Someone refuses to quit. Someone keeps going until they prove everyone wrong. Why can't that someone be you? Every great success story began with a person who ignored a crowd of dream killers. Every breakthrough started with someone who said, I'm going to do it anyway. You have to become that person who no longer flinches when someone says, It's impossible. You have to reach a point where other people's disbelief doesn't discourage you. It fuels you. Because their doubt is not your problem. Their disbelief doesn't define your destiny. Let them talk, let them laugh, let them doubt. None of it matters if you keep moving. Remember this: lions don't lose sleep over the opinions of sheep. The noise around you means nothing if the fire within you is still burning. You owe it to yourself to protect your dream, to guard it from negativity, to build walls around your belief system that no word of doubt can penetrate. Your dream is your responsibility. It's your assignment, not theirs. If they can't see it, that's fine. It wasn't shown to them. Stop explaining your vision to people who weren't meant to understand it. You're not crazy for believing in something that others can't yet see. Visionaries always look foolish to those who have settled for ordinary. So when you recognize the dream killers in your life, the ones who never encourage, never celebrate, and never believe, don't argue with them. Don't try to convince them. Just distance yourself. Protect your space, protect your focus, and keep building quietly. Because the best way to silence a dream killer is not by explaining your dream, it's by living it. Teach ENEGDINRs. The second kind of person you must delete from your life is the energy drainer. These are the people who never bring peace when they arrive, only silence when they leave. You know exactly who they are. The ones who seem to take a little more from you every time they come around. You start the conversation full of energy, excitement, or hope, but by the time they walk away, you feel heavier, weaker, and somehow smaller. They don't have to shout or insult you to drain you. Sometimes it's their attitude, their constant complaints, their negativity disguised as realism. They can turn a bright day into a cloudy one just by speaking. And the problem is, if you're not careful, you start to absorb their energy and mistake it for your own. You begin to think that the fatigue, the frustration, the hopelessness you feel is coming from life, when in reality, it's coming from them. Energy drainers have a way of making everything about themselves. They take your time, your attention, your compassion, and rarely ever give anything back. When you succeed, they go silent. When you're struggling, they appear not to lift you, but to feed off your pain because your struggle makes them feel important. They thrive on sympathy, but disappear when it's time to give support. They drain your emotional battery, then blame you for not being the same anymore. But what they don't realize is that every person has a limit. You can't keep pouring into someone who only knows how to take. You can't keep saving people who aren't willing to save themselves. Sometimes these people disguise themselves as the ones who just need help. They always have a new crisis, a new problem, a new reason for why they can't stand on their own. And because you're a kind person, you keep showing up. You keep giving your time, your advice, your strength, believing that maybe this time it'll make a difference. But what you don't realize is that while you're rescuing them over and over, you're slowly sinking with them. Energy drainers will make you believe that being a good person means always being available, but there's a difference between helping and being used. There's a difference between compassion and self-sacrifice. You are not obligated to destroy yourself to keep someone else comfortable. Energy drainers are dangerous not because they attack you, but because they exhaust you. They make you too tired to focus on your dreams, too distracted to protect your peace, too emotionally drained to even recognize what's happening. You start waking up every day feeling tired before you've even done anything. You start losing excitement for the things that once inspired you. You find yourself questioning why you're always emotionally heavy and you can't point to a single reason. That's how subtle it is. You think you're just stressed, but the truth is, you've been carrying too many people who refuse to carry themselves. You have to understand something. Energy is contagious. Sit with winners and you'll feel inspired. Sit with complainers and you'll feel defeated. The people around you shape the atmosphere of your life. Their words affect your thoughts, their attitude affects your focus, and their habits affect your discipline. If you surround yourself with people who constantly drain you, You'll start living on empty. And when you live on empty, you can't pour into your purpose, your passion, or your growth. That's why you must protect your energy like it's gold, because it is. Once it's gone, everything else starts to fall apart. Think about it. How can you expect to reach your goals when you're constantly fighting invisible battles with people who drain your motivation? How can you hear your inner voice when theirs is always louder? How can you focus on becoming your best self when you're constantly managing their chaos? Life is already hard enough. You don't need people who make it harder. You need people who bring peace when they walk in, who leave you better than they found you, who recharge your spirit instead of draining your soul. Some of the energy drainers in your life may not even be bad people. They may love you, but they don't know how to manage their own emotions. They might not mean to drain you, but intention doesn't erase impact. You can love someone deeply and still recognize that their presence is costing you too much. Love doesn't mean unlimited access. It's okay to step back. It's okay to protect your space. It's okay to say, I need to recharge before I can give again. Because sometimes walking away from people who drain you isn't an act of selfishness. It's an act of survival. Your time, your peace, your energy, these are sacred things. You must guard them with wisdom. Because if you don't, energy drainers will take until there's nothing left. And when you finally break, they'll move on to the next person without hesitation. So learn to recognize when someone is costing you your peace. Pay attention to how you feel after you spend time with them. Do you feel inspired or exhausted? Do you feel lighter or heavier? That feeling will tell you everything you need to know. At some point, you have to stop apologizing for protecting your peace. You have to stop feeling guilty for saying no. You have to stop believing that setting boundaries makes you cold. Boundaries are not walls. They're gates that let in what nourishes you and keeps out what drains you. You were not created to be everyone's emotional battery. You were created to live, to grow, to thrive. And none of that is possible if you keep giving your energy to people who refuse to take responsibility for their own. Tichi Prandars, the third type of person you must delete from your life is the pretender. The ones who wear smiles that don't reach their eyes, who speak words of support that never reach their hearts. They are the most dangerous kind because they blend in. They sit beside you, laugh with you, celebrate you in public, but behind the mask, they're watching and waiting. They clap when you win, but it's a slow clap, one filled with hidden envy and quiet resentment. They act like they're proud of you, but deep down, they wish it was them standing in your place. They disguise their jealousy as friendship and their competition as care. You'll notice them when you start growing, because success has a way of revealing who's real and who's not. When you were struggling, they were around, but the moment your light starts shining brighter, they start shrinking back into the shadows, whispering, doubting, comparing, competing. Pretenders are experts in emotional camouflage. They study you, learn your weaknesses, understand what makes you feel safe, and then they use that trust to stay close. They'll flatter you when you're doing well, but the moment you hit a setback, they suddenly turn silent. They never show up when you need them, but they'll always find time to gossip about you when you're not around. And the truth is, they are more exhausting than your enemies, because at least enemies are honest about where they stand. Pretenders drain you from the inside out. They eat at your peace quietly with fake affection and hollow loyalty. You can't relax around them because something in your spirit knows they're not genuine. You can feel it, the subtle shift in energy, the way their encouragement feels forced, the way their congratulations sound heavy. You'll start to notice pretenders when you achieve something worth celebrating. Watch how they react when your name is called, when your efforts finally pay off, when the spotlight shines your way. Some people can't handle your success because it reminds them of their lack of progress. They'll smile, but their eyes will tell a different story. They'll say, "I'm so proud of you." But their tone will reveal that what they really mean is, "Why not me?" The pretenders are the ones who vanish when you rise but reappear the moment you fall. They're not there to lift you, they're there to witness your stumble. Because your struggle makes them feel better about themselves. They feed off your vulnerability like parasites feeding on your pain. You can usually identify pretenders by how they handle your absence. When you're not in the room, do they defend your name or destroy it? Do they protect your reputation, or do they participate in tearing it down? The moment you stop being useful to them, they reveal their true face. They'll say you've changed when all you did was grow. They'll accuse you of being distant when all you did was protect your peace. The problem isn't that you changed. It's that you stopped giving them the version of you that tolerated disrespect. And the moment you start prioritizing yourself, pretenders will always feel betrayed because your boundaries threaten their control. What makes pretenders so dangerous is their subtlety. They don't attack, they infiltrate. They don't oppose you, they observe you. They gather information disguised as conversation, and later they use it to twist your story. They take your private pain and turn it into public gossip. They will never tell you what they really think, but they will always tell someone else. And yet, because they wear the mask of care, you hesitate to let them go. You tell yourself they've just changed, that maybe it's your imagination, that you're being too harsh. But deep down, you know when someone's spirit no longer aligns with yours. You can feel when the connection isn't pure anymore. That intuition inside you, it's not paranoia, it's protection. Sometimes the pretenders are people you've known for years. People you grew up with, laughed with, trusted deeply. And that makes it harder to let them go. But time does not equal loyalty. Just because someone's been in your life a long time doesn't mean they deserve to stay forever. Some people were only meant to walk with you for a season. They were there to teach you discernment, to show you what fake support looks like, to sharpen your intuition. When people show you who they are, believe them. Don't try to repaint their character just because you love the memory of who they used to be. It hurts to admit that not everyone who calls you friend truly wants to see you win. It's painful to realize that some of the people you prayed for, supported, and believed in were secretly hoping you'd fail. But this is life. Growth doesn't just elevate you, it separates you. And that separation is necessary because where you're going, pretenders can't come. They don't have the heart, the mindset, or the integrity to walk that path with you. They'll try to keep you at their level by pretending to care, but in truth, they only stay close enough to monitor your progress. You don't owe pretenders access to your peace. You don't have to explain yourself, argue, or prove your loyalty. Silence speaks louder than confrontation. When you withdraw your energy, when you stop feeding their need for attention, they eventually expose themselves. The less you entertain their performance, the quicker the mask falls off. And when it does, you'll see that losing them wasn't a loss. It was a revelation. So be mindful of who claps for you, who checks on you, who stays consistent when there's nothing to gain. Real friends celebrate you even when they're struggling themselves. Real friends push you to grow even when it means you'll surpass them. Real friends don't compete with you. They complete you. But pretenders will never do that. Their love is conditional, their loyalty temporary, and their presence costly. Recognize them early, and you'll save yourself years of emotional exhaustion. Because nothing weighs heavier than fake love disguised as friendship. At some point, you must stop apologizing for wanting peace, progress, and purpose. You are not meant to carry everyone into your next season. Some people were only meant to be lessons, not lifelong companions. The dream killers, the energy drainers, and the pretenders, they all serve one purpose: to teach you the value of protecting your spirit. Once you understand that, you begin to move differently. You stop explaining your dreams to those who can't see them. You stop giving your energy to those who only take. You stop sharing your heart with those who don't deserve to hold it. You start choosing peace over presence, growth over guilt, and authenticity over attachment. When you remove the wrong people from your life, The right ones finally have space to enter. The silence that follows may feel lonely at first, but it's in that silence that you rediscover your voice. It's in that space that you find your clarity, your focus, your strength. You begin to rise, not because the path became easier, but because your heart became lighter. So take a moment and look around you. Who challenges you to grow? Who celebrates your victories with genuine joy? Who lifts you when you're low without needing anything in return? Those are the people who deserve your time. Everyone else, let them go with love, but let them go. Because your future is far too important to be slowed down by people who don't believe, don't give, and don't care. You were never meant to please everyone. You were meant to fulfill your purpose. And sometimes, the most powerful act of self-love is learning to walk away from those who no longer walk with you. Delete the wrong people, protect your peace, and keep moving forward. Because once you let go of what drains you, you finally make room for what grows you.